Dr. Kamala Uzzell is a native of Goldsboro, North Carolina, and the founder of Soleil, a full-service psychotherapy private practice based in North Carolina. She is a national board certified counselor, licensed clinical mental health counselor supervisor, and a certified clinical trauma specialist with more than 20 years of clinical and higher education experience. She is a dedicated member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Join me in welcoming our first presenter, Dr. Kamala Uzzell.
Hello and good morning. Thank you so much for that warm welcome. Naglitha, this has been a wonderful, wonderful start to the morning. I am excited to be here with you all this morning, and I am thankful to God for allowing me to be here. Again, thank you to Naglitha Johnson, the Johnson family, and all who have made it possible for us to gather together and discuss a topic that is near and dear to my heart, mental health. As you've heard, I am a psychotherapist, so I'm a mental health practitioner. And what I do all day, every day for the past 23, 24 years is all things mental health. And I can tell you that at no point in my career has mental health been as urgent a topic in our society as it is now. There's a lot going on. Ladies, as you all know, the COVID-19 pandemic affected each of us in one way or another, and it continues to affect many of us to this very moment. COVID, the political climate, the current racial climate, and many things, including the racial climate, that has been particularly devastating to Black and Brown communities, the financial concerns, a recession. So many things has affected us as a people and as women. And with all that has happened, we are suffering. We have suffered. We are in a time of both collective grief and collective trauma. But right now, we're emerging. We're emerging from a pandemic. We're emerging from isolation, and we're venturing out into the world, and we're carrying countless bags filled with emotions and trauma and everything we've gone through and everything that we are responsible for on our backs. And guess what? If you don't know, if you're not feeling it right now, some of us are, and those bags that we're carrying are heavy. And we're tired. And I think I might speak for some of you when I say we're overwhelmed. But we are pressing on. We steady press on. We steady try. We steady wake up every day. And we keep doing it over and over again. And we will do it over and over again, day in and day out, until one day we can't anymore. And as a psychotherapist, as a mental health professional, I don't want that to happen to anyone. I don't want us to not be able to do it anymore because of our mental health. I want us to be able to keep going as long as we can. So I want to talk about someone who some of you may know. I know some of you might know and may have heard of Erykah Badu. Erykah Badu once told us that we were going to hurt our backs and we were going to miss our bus if we continue carrying all those bags like that. Ladies, she said a word. If we keep carrying these bags filled with all of these responsibilities, emotions, the trauma, the grief, the unresolved conflicts, imposter syndrome, heartache, and I can go on and on and on and on with things that we are carrying, and many of you are carrying right now this morning. Ladies, we are going to hurt our backs and we're going to miss our bus. And that bus is our vehicle that is going to take us the distance that we need to go to achieve a peaceful, greater, more fulfilled, and healthier life. We want mental stability and we want mental health, and we want to get rid of those bags. So I am thankful for this conference, and I'm thankful for this space that has been held for us this morning so that we can focus on going the distance with just that one bag. So mental health, why is it important? First, it's health. We have our physical health and we have our mental health. So our thoughts, our emotions, our feelings, our ability to focus, to show and receive love, to concentrate, to be happy, to make good decisions, to reason and analyze, and to think about all the things that we need to do to be able to do all the things that we need and we want to do. Mental health affects all of that. So if that's the case, then it can be said with great certainty that if you're not mentally healthy, it will be difficult to understand why and how your physical health is important. Without mental health, you won't have the motivation, the reasoning ability, or the know-how to take a look at yourself and say, hey, what do I need to do for my physical health? What is going on? I need to get up and I need to comb my hair. I need to get up and I need to go to work. You won't have that ability, that mental ability or motivation to do that. We won't have the motivation to go to your medical doctor to see what needs to be done for our physical health, to stay physically fit. And also, if we're not mentally healthy in a good and peaceful place, we can't focus, we can't concentrate, or we can't get motivated to keep going in spite of all the things that come our way. And as long as we're living, things are going to come our way. Good things, bad things are going to come our way every day. And I'm sure that many of you in attendance today have amazing goals and amazing plans for your life and for the lives of the people you love. But I also want you to understand that it's great to have those goals and great to have those plans. And I encourage you to have goals and plans. But we also have to understand that we have to pay attention to our mental health, because anxiety, depression, worries, and fears will sneak up on us, and they will put a damper on our plans, and they will stop us in our tracks. So when we're in a good mental space, you will be amazed at how the creativity and how the drive just automatically comes and flows freely. When we're not in a good mental space, we feel like we're stuck. And that's something that my clients say to me all the time. Doc, I feel stuck. I just feel stuck. I don't feel like doing anything. I don't have motivation to go out and do the things I used to do. I used to like to exercise. I used to like to garden. I used to this. I don't have motivation. I'm just tired. I just want to, at the end of the day, I want to get on my sofa and I want to put my throw on and just lay there and watch TV. And that's all I want to do. And that's what happens as life hits us, and as things keep filling up those bags that we keep putting on our backs, we start to get into a rut and in a space like that. So what can we do day to day to help ourselves? What can we do day to day so that we're not feeling like that, so that we don't keep taking all these hits and these blows and just everyone is dumping everything that they have onto us, but we know we still have to take care of our families. We still have to pay our bills. We still have things that we have to do. What can we do to help ourselves stay in a good place or to feel better? What we call it in the mental health field is self-care. So self-care is anything you do to take care of yourself. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate or expensive. They are simple things that you can do for yourself. We've already heard some of these things in the mental health nugget. So I'm happy to hear, and I was happy to hear the different things that we had, the knitting and the coloring, the different things that we've already talked about in mental health nuggets. Those are self-care strategies. So one of my favorite is intentional breathing exercising. So just taking deep breaths. I do it all the time. I am, as you heard, I'm involved in or the other organizations. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I'm involved in my church, and I work with a couple of my family reunions on the family reunion committee, and then I work to pay my bills. And so there's a lot going on, and I find myself several times during the day taking some slow, deep breaths. And those slow, deep breaths bring me to a place of calm. They center me. They readjust my attitude. They readjust my energy level, and they help me go to the next moment, and they help me get through my day. So when you feel yourself in the middle of a meeting, sometimes in the middle of a conversation with someone, when you feel yourself tense and you're feeling it up in your neck and maybe your back, might be all the way at the top of your head, wherever you feeling it. When you feel yourself just getting full and tense, take some deep breaths. Or when you feel yourself anxious. So as we get older, women, anxiety increases. So a lot of women will come in during middle age, and they will say, you know, I just feel nervous. I sweat. And I'm not just talking about hormones, but they'll say, I sweat, you know, when I go into church or when I go into a meeting, I just sweat and I just break out in a sweat sometimes. Sometimes that's anxiety. And a lot of times that it is anxiety. And so what we want to do in those moments is to just stop and take some slow, deep breaths. You know, you hear it all the time. It sounds cliche. It sounds like, oh, that's therapy talk. They just want you to breathe, but it works. I tell you, I do it. Anytime I feel my heart rate rising or getting faster, I take those slow, deep, controlled breaths. And I'm not talking about just breathe in, breathe out. That's going to make you lightheaded. So you don't want to do that. So you want to do them slowly, count in, breathe in, for 4 or 5 seconds, and then breathe out, and do that till you find that that you've slowed down. You also want to get plenty of rest. We heard that in the mental health nuggets. Plenty of rest. If you don't have good rest, if you're not rested, you're not going to be focused. You're going to be anxious. Depression comes as a result of not getting good rest. One of the ways that depression might come or develop. The focus, the concentration, you're going to be irritable. You're not going to be a fun person to coexist in a household with or to work with if you're not getting plenty of rest. Also engage in some form of exercise. So whatever exercise is for you. So it may be going to the gym, it may be running, it may be walking, it may be line dancing. It may be, I know a lot of people are using a Peloton now. It could be any of those things. You want to get you some form of exercise. Eating healthy snacks and healthy meals. When we have a loss of motivation, when we're feeling a little bit depressed, we often reach for the unhealthy snacks and the unhealthy meals. We're reaching for something quick so we can hurry up on that drive home. We can go through that drive-through, get us something quick, and hurry up and get under that throw, watching TV, eating our meal with our family or by ourselves. But that is counterproductive of what we're trying to do. So you want to do healthy things to give you the energy to do more. Another thing you want to do is take breaks from social media and the news. We want to stay up with what's going on, but I tell you, social media and the news are often filled with bad news. And that's what makes us, with human nature, it makes us want to watch it because it's bad news. It shouldn't be that way, but that's what attracts more views, is when it's something that's bad news. And when you're taking in all of that from social media, from the news, or wherever you are, when you're taking in all of that doom and gloom, it's weighing on you. And so, you know, my clients will say to me, well, how are you sitting here talking to us all day, every day, and you're taking it all in? And then we come, you know, click on the Zoom and you're smiling and you seem rested and relaxed. Well, I'm a professional. I know what to do. I know to practice what I preach. And I know at the end of every session that I have to do a little bit of self-care as I log out and before I log on again. And when I go from meeting to meeting in the evening, sometimes late into the evening, I know how to do self-care. Sometimes during those meetings, I know how to do my deep breathing. I know how to say my prayer and do my meditation. As I was talking just a moment ago, my watch told me it's time for a mindful moment. So I have that set on my watch that at different times during the day, I need to be mindful and center myself and make sure that I'm doing my self-care. And I'll tell you what, these Apple Watches won't rest sometimes. You know, you feel like, hey, I feel peaceful, but your watch won't stop. It keep telling you time to stand up, time to get a mindful moment. So set those things if you have some kind of device that can help remind you that you need to take a moment. And I heard in the mental health moment also, the nugget to laugh. Laughing is one of the best things that you can do. Early on in my career, I had to watch some comedy, some sitcom at the end of every night. That is the only way that I made it, as long as I have made it in my profession. So at the end of the day, I would just feel weighed down. Love what I do. I love what I was doing then. I still love it. I am passionate about it. I feel blessed, incredibly blessed to be able to do something that I love every single day. But at the beginning of my career, at the end of the day, I just felt like I could not breathe with all that I was hearing and all the demands that I had on me. And so I made it a point. I made it a part of my regular everyday is at the end of my day is to watch a comedy because I needed to laugh. I needed to watch a sitcom and laugh. And so what that did for me was it was my way of coping with what I was doing and my way of letting those emotions out. And so we are like containers. And so our containers have a capacity. And if we have a lid on our container, which is our body, so analogy of our body, we have a lid. All day long, there, you know, those containers where you can put, I guess like air in a tire. Let's use the air in a tire. So we're in a tire and you can put air in your tire. If you continuously put air in your tire and that tire pressure goes up, 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 and you're not letting a little bit out, you're going to explode at some point. So all day, we're like that. We're taking everything in, good emotions, bad emotions, memories, unexpected, just day-to-day things. We're taking it in, we're taking in, we're taking in, taking in. If we don't find ways to let a little bit out at a time, we're going to explode. And so you don't want to explode at work. You don't want to explode on one of your loved ones. You don't want to explode in a meeting. And when we get too full, you don't ever know when that tire is going to pop, right? You don't know when it's going to happen. And that's just how we are. We don't know when we're going to explode. So the best thing to do, so that you don't have to replace a tire, so that you don't have to put yourself back together, is to let some of those emotions out little by little. And so laughing, crying, exercising, breathing out, that's letting emotions out little by little. And moving forward, some other things that we can do for self-care. Stay connected to social support. So stay close to your friends and your family, the healthy ones, okay? So we have some friends who might not be healthy. We have some family members who might not be healthy. So we have to set boundaries with those people, okay? So the ones that are maybe taking a lot, and I'm not talking about, you know, kids, that's all they can do is take. There's not a whole lot they can give you. But the ones that might be taking a lot, the ones might be stressful, the ones that I think we like to use the word toxic. So those individuals, you got to set boundaries around those, right, with those folks. However, the ones that are supportive, the ones who are in our corner, the ones who pray for us, the ones we pray with, the ones who are receptive of our prayers, those that show up for us in times of need, or celebrate us. We want to stay connected to those people because that is our support system. And so what we do is we check in on those folks, we pray for them. And when we need prayer, we're able to call them and we know that we can get it. Send a card, we can engage in activities with them. Anything that you can do that will help you feel like you're a blessing to someone. And if you need a blessing from someone, that you can be able to go to those people also. Another self-care activity is journaling, jigsaw puzzles. We talked about crocheting. We talked about coloring. Any activity that is enjoyable to you, again, that is healthy. You don't want to add any unhealthy things to your life, especially when you are dealing with any stress or anxiety. I see somebody just put in the chat, Abbott Elementary. Yes, that is absolutely a show that will make you laugh. So anytime you can get that laughing in, wonderful. And then finally, the final self-care activity I want to talk about is mindfulness or meditation. So I told you a moment ago, I have an Apple Watch that I just got a few weeks ago and I love it. But it reminds me to take a mindful moment. I start my day with meditation. I've always started my day with meditation, but now my watch even gives me a mindful meditation every morning. And I have it set to do several times during the day. So it's going to buzz on my wrist. I might not be able to do it. I may be in the middle of talking, and so I might not be able to do it then, but I can get to it. But if I'm just sitting around or I'm shopping or whatever I need to do, my wrist is going to buzz and it's going to buzz and it's going to say, it's time to take some deep breaths, read this passage, read this scripture. You can set that on your phone, or you can just have that scheduled in your day. At certain times a day, you will stop and you will do a quick meditation. And that will always bring you back to a place of calmness, and it will center you. And you want to stay centered in this busy world. So what happens if you try all of these self-care activities, you listen to what I've said, you take into account those mental health nuggets, and you try all of these self-care activities and they just don't work? You still feel sad. You still feel stressed. You still feel anxious, overwhelmed. Life is still happening. And you're thinking about, Dr. Kamala said, I should breathe. I've been breathing. I'm out of breath. She said I need to exercise. I'm burning 500,000 calories, however many calories a day. I got all the steps I can do. I did those 8,000. Now I'm up to 10,000. And I'm just as overwhelmed and stressed as I was when I started. And I'm tired now because I did all this exercising. This ain't working. I'm stressed and something just isn't right. What to do is seek help from a therapist. Find a counselor. Find a counselor. So go to therapy. Look for a counselor. Ask people that you know. Ask people who are in the profession, people in your church, any other organization you might be affiliated with. Ask them for a referral. Ask them how you find a therapist. So therapy is a confidential, judgment-free, supportive, and collaborative space. It's a collaborative space and it's a collaborative process. Therapy is where you can go and you can pour every care, every feeling, whether it's good, it's bad, every thought. You can pour all of that out. You can cry as much as you want. You can laugh as much as you want. And that person sitting across from you is not going to laugh at you. They are not going to judge you. They are not going to scold you. They are going to listen and they are going to support and they are going to present options to you to move forward in the way that you want to move forward. Therapy is provided by licensed clinical mental health counselors, licensed social workers, psychologists. It can benefit people who are experiencing difficulties with difficulties with emotions and life challenges and mental health concerns. And now I personally believe, and it's not just because I'm a therapist, but I personally believe that everybody should have a therapist. And so I became a therapist because I believe that the field is something that is so important and that some communities have not utilized enough. And it's the key to us breaking some cycles. It's the key to us achieving things that we want to achieve and that we should be able to achieve. It helps all the clutter and all of the thoughts that are running around in our mind all the time. It helps us put those in order and in perspective. It helps us do something with these feelings that are just in our bodies that are weighing us down or that are making us anxious. Therapy helps us figure out what to do with all of that. So basically, it reorganizes and it organizes our thought processes. I cannot emphasize enough that our mental wellness is just important as our physical wellness. We spend countless hours working on our physical wellness. We exercise, we get our steps in, we do our annual exams, we eat right, we do whatever it takes to be physically fit. And physical health, physical fitness is normal. We talk about it all the time. I hear some of my sorority sisters talking about, oh, Peloton, I did this, and let's race and let's get together and Peloton. But I rarely hear people I'm around talk about, you still going to therapy? How's therapy helping you? Anybody know about this therapist? Anybody know if such and such is accepting new clients? Anybody been to any mental health conferences lately? I rarely hear that. I hear it more now in the past 3 or 4 years than I'd ever heard it. So I hear it more now and I want to celebrate that and I'm happy about that. But I don't hear it as much. So we all need a therapist, just like we have our primary care physician. We also need a therapist. You don't have to go regularly. You can go for a checkup once or twice a year. It's good. You just want to talk to somebody and say, okay, these are some thoughts I'm having, and these are some behaviors that I'm having, and this is how I'm feeling. Am I good, Doc? Is everything okay? You got any suggestions? You got any new coping strategies that you've found with some of your other clients that work that you can pass on to me? It's good to have that person in your life. So if something does happen, you can call that person versus trying to have to go and find one because the wait lists are long. So you always want to have your person so that you don't have to find one when something terrible has happened. And so, final thing I want to say to you is just leave you with the thought that it is time for us to release some of our emotional bags and take care of our mental health. It is time for us to prioritize our mental health so that we can go the distance. Thank you for having me. I've enjoyed talking with you about this topic. And I don't know, should I ask for questions now? I know there's been a lot going on in the chat. Should I ask for questions now, or is that something you'll do, Naklita?
I'm with you. I'm with you right here. Let
Okay.
me just I got a couple of questions I'm going to ask you, Dr. Kamala. Let's see, I've been watching the chat. First of all, let me just say thank you. You hit on everything that I needed personally. So I cannot speak for anybody else. So I say thank you for myself.
You're
You talked about mindful moments and setting a reminder on our clocks or our watches so that we'll know, hey, we need to stop and refresh. You talked about taking everything in and how that's not our responsibility to own everything. Yes and amen. Talked about a therapist. Absolutely. I was telling the beloveds that are in here with me now, I totally believe that when people are born, they should get their birth certificate and a voucher for a lifelong therapist. Okay. That's what I believe. So I want to ask just a quick question. Someone asked, let me just pull it up real quickly here. And it says, how do we, Rosalind asked, how do we get rid of the idea that we are the only ones who can do something? How do we ask for help, especially if we've been conditioned to believe we have to go it alone? What you got?
And that, I'm sorry, that is a great question. And it is something that I think many of us who are conditioned to believe that we need to do it all. I know that I've struggled with this in the past because I kind of think if you want to do, if you want it to be done the right way, you need to do it yourself.
Yourself.
Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's true. Let's be real. Sometimes it is true. However, we can't do everything. We can't do everything. What I will tell you, one thing that will break that for you is when your body breaks down and you realize there ain't nothing else I can do. I have to stop. I have to stop. And now guess what? Because I can't do it, I am at the mercy of everybody else. So whatever they do is going to have to work because I can't physically do it anymore. So we just have to know. We have to know that if it is something that we have taught other people to do, or we have trained other people to do, or if they are our peer or colleague, that what makes us think that we're the only person who can do it, right? So if we've trained, and we have to trust what we've done and trust what we've put out there. So if it's a work situation and we have taught people in our area how to perform a certain task or how to be a leader, we have to trust that we did a good job with that. We have to trust that we were competent in our ability to develop those leaders. And if we don't, if we feel that we still need to do it, then that means there's something wrong with our skills because we've not done the work that we needed to do to be able to develop that person into doing what they're supposed to do. And that's the same thing with children, right? So if you have raised your child and you've taught your child how to do certain things, then at some point you got to let go and let them do it. And if they can't do it, then you might need to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, maybe there's another way I need to teach you how to do this. If if it's an adult, figure that out. But if they are a teenager, maybe I need to go back and teach you how to do this. Because if you're still not getting it, maybe it was the way that I was teaching. Maybe it's that, but we have to at some point just say, I'm stopping, I'm gonna let go. So, personally, there are a couple of things that I have on my schedule today outside of this conference. And, for a while I was thinking, how am I going to get all of this done? I am going to be so tired at the end of the day, but I need to be there. I need to show up because I need to do this. And I need to make sure this happens. And I made to make sure this person does this. And I need to be here just in case this person asks this and this person asks that. And then about 2 days ago, I said, wait a minute. There are a whole lot of other people who can do this other than me. Why do I feel like I need to be there? There are other people that can answer questions. There are other people that can set up tables. There are other people that can pass out tickets. There are other people who can make sure that the schedule goes the way that it goes. And so I said no. So yesterday I sent messages and I said, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be there. These are the people who can handle this. If you need anything, please contact them. And if there's something that's urgent, then send me a message.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I'm so with you on that. And let me just say this real quickly. Let me just see if there's something else real quick I want to hit. Yeah, someone said, Sally Toner said, it's so important to understand the value of asking for help. And there's no weakness in that. There's no lack in saying, hey, I need a hand. And sometimes as women, we do feel like we just got to take it on in. Otherwise, it speaks to our lack of abilities. One thing that I'm really clear on is that for me, when I try to do it all, and I have tried to do that most of the time, um, it robs other people of the blessing of being able to look back and see what they were able to do because I didn't try to take it on. Every choir that needed a piano player, I used to try to play for them. And God was
Mhm.
like, no, what about the other
Mhm.
people that I'm trying to develop? So it's
Mhm.
your time to just sit down. So
Mhm.
with that, let's see, taking time, I wanted to ask about, real quick question. That's about their reception and not. Okay, I want to ask about therapists accepting or not accepting or not accepting insurance, and what recommendations she has regarding those who cannot afford the out-of-pocket expense if the therapist does not accept insurance or is not in network. If you could speak to that real quickly, and then we'll keep moving.
Yep,
Thank
I'll
you
say
so
that.
much, madam.
I will. So, many therapists have moved away from insurance. There are definitely still many who are on insurance panels, but many of us have moved away from insurance. I was one that moved away about 10 years ago. And that's just because of all of the red tape with insurance companies. So, but there are several different options. So I have clients who will pay me out of pocket, and then you can file it with your insurance, and your insurance, many of them will reimburse you everything except for the copay amount. So that was what you would have been out of pocket anyway, the copay amount. Also, many folks have the health savings plans with their job. And so you could pay using that. There are organizations who will pay for therapy. There's one called the Loveland Foundation, and that organization will pay for a certain amount of sessions for women of color. And so you go to that foundation's website, and they accept applications several times throughout the year, and they will give you vouchers. And those vouchers, that works with the therapist you're seeing in the Loveland Foundation. The therapist just accepts the voucher, and the Loveland Foundation pays. I know that Taraji Henson has started one for men as well, where they can also get free therapy through a voucher system. Also, your job, your EAP, so your employee assistance plan, typically will pay for up to 6 sessions of therapy. You can ask a therapist if they have a sliding scale. You can ask for sliding scales throughout the year. Many therapists will do a certain number of pro bono clients. Generally, I do my pro bono clients with elderly clients. That's generally who my pro bono clients are. But you can ask about pro bono. Universities, colleges and universities that have master's or PhD counseling programs. Those students need hours towards their internship, and often those university counseling centers that have an actual program, they will offer free or low cost therapy. So in North Carolina State University has a center, and no session is over $40. So it's $0 if you make under $10,000 a year. It's $10, I believe, it's $10, I think, if you make under 10,000, 20 under 20, 30 under 30,000, and then 40 is on up. So check out those counseling centers that are have programs in counseling for some low cost or affordable therapy.
Thank you so much.